a very strange day in the world of Magic the Gathering. Jumpstart has just been canceled, but at the same time, not canceled. Commander Masters continues to be an ever-burning dumpster fire. But the truly weird part is Wilds of Eldraine, the upcoming Magic set, is actually giving me genuine hope for Magic going forwards. I don't know what universe we've been transported to, but here's where I want to stay.
Magic. I am a wizard! History. I'm an old wizard! The Magic Historian. My bones hurt.
Greetings, owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles. My friends, I hope the day finds you well because we have gathered for another installment of Mega Magic News. This one is a weirdness edition because we are going all over the place. The Jumpstart situation is a strange one indeed. Double Masters continuing to be a dumpster fire isn't really that strange. That's par for the course. But ultimately, it does look like Magic the Gathering is making some of the right moves going into the future, so it's not all doom and gloom today. Let's start out by talking about Commander Masters. And actually, on that note, if you're interested, I'm going to be doing a live stream over on my other channel where we have a crazy Plinko board and we'll be cracking open packs of Commander Masters. So if you would like to see horribly overpriced cards that are printed to poor condition, then I invite you to come on over. No word of a lie, right before I went to record this video, my phone's buzzing. Check it out. Here's an email. Here's another complaint about Commander Masters. Look at this super expensive Machias that I cracked out of the pack. Damaged. It's par for the course, right? If you saw the Magic 30 stuff that I opened recently, it's all banged up along the edges. So card quality continues to be a big issue for Wizards of the Coast. And specifically, Commander Masters is a huge, lazy pile of garbage. Let me give you a great example. Take a look at the draft insert that they included in draft boxes for Commander Masters. Now, at first glance, you might be saying to yourself, bro, I don't see what the problem here is. I'm looking at this and I'm seeing a bunch of different color combinations. I'm seeing explanations of different draft archetypes that you can build when you're drafting Commander Masters. What's the deal? How is this lazy? Well, what if I told you that these are actually the archetypes for Dominaria, and they just went ahead and reprinted the Dominarian one instead of actually making one for Double Masters. So I want you to understand that they said that they primed this set for draft. We really care about the draft experience. It's definitely not an excuse to just put a bunch of crappy cards in the set so you have a bunch of bad experiences and you will chase the super valuable rares. It's 100% about providing a balanced draft limited environment, even though we've priced it to make that kind of environment basically impossible to get into, right? So to me, this is just the cherry on the garbage sundae that is Commander Masters. Overall, this product is a fail as far as I'm concerned. Wizards having to fire sale it off at the beginning is a big indicator. Stores pulling back on their orders, players pulling back. It feels like Wizards is probably going to get the message from this, and they're going to need to tweak their expectations for reprint sets going downwards in the future in terms of price, but whether they'll actually accept that remains to be seen. I can't really see the next Master set coming out at a much higher price point unless they fundamentally change how they construct them. This Commander Masters had a bunch of people looking at the spoilers and going, you know what, bro? I don't see it. I don't see any value whatsoever. What is this garbage? Forget it. I got no interest. So Commander Masters is already spasming on the ground. And then you have the additional problem for it that Wizards can't help themselves with these reprints. So in Commander Masters, we had the situation where you have Commandeer on the list, so it's in the main set, and it's in the list for the same set, so you can get the same rare you could get in the set there, but they thought it would be even funnier to go, yo, what if we took a big desirable rare like Doubling Season that we were putting in Commander Masters, and what if we put it in like Wilds of Eldraine as well? Wilds of Eldraine has a 63 card set, the same way that the Brothers War did and Strixhaven did. They've got these special reprint cards, and there's a lot of juice in there. I actually did a live stream going over all of the spoilers from Wild of Eldraine and all the new Doctor Who cards. I never thought that I would get interested in the like flavor, the lore of Doctor Who, but after seeing some of this Doctor Who stuff, it's absolutely crazy. If you're interested in seeing all those cards, I spent over an hour going through each one, talking about them all. I'll leave a link to that at the end of this video if you want to go and check it out, because there is a bunch of cool stuff that's coming out with Wilds of Eldraine. But the fact that they're doing this 63 card reprint setup, you look at it and you go, there's a lot of juice in here. There's a bunch of good stuff. It really does make Commander Masters feel even more diminished when you go, well, how come you can provide us all these new cards and a bunch of good reprints for a much better price point? It just really illustrates how bad Commander Masters feels. So let's talk about Jumpstart, because what's going on here is really, really weird. We all know that Jumpstart is a failure of a product. We talked about how they had to create a special Lord of the Rings event just to get people to come out and play Jumpstart, and how every time they put out Jumpstart, it was diminishing returns because Wizards couldn't help themselves. They saw the original Jumpstart and they went, whoa, people love this Jumpstart, but they hate theme decks. So why don't we just reskin theme decks and call them Jumpstart? We'll release them with every set. It'll be gangbusters. And then people went, this isn't Jumpstart. This is a completely different product. These just have 5 different rares and everything else is just stuff you can get in the regular set. And so Wizards tried that a number of times and they finally come to the realization that it's not working. So Jumpstart is not going to be done going forwards with Wilds of Eldraine, and I don't expect to ever see Jumpstart again. But we do have a weird situation where they're still producing cards like they did for Jumpstart, and they're still going to put them into boosters, and they're still going to be standard legal. So we have a situation where these are cards that will only show up in set or collector boosters, and it's unclear whether it's just going to be the same set of 5 intro cards. Like, I don't know if this is Wizards just going, look, we already designed the cards for a number of Jumpstarts. We've paid for the artwork. We've designed the cards. We're going to print and sell them. Or if it's literally just, we're adding way more cards into standard. How many cards are they putting in there? They are tweaking all the little knobs and dials to the point where when you buy commander decks, those collector sampler boosters that you have in there, they have cards you can't get anywhere else. So there's all these different staggerings. So Jumpstart is going away, but also morphing into a new special subset of standard legal cards that you can't get in draft boxes. But if they're as weak as Jumpstart cards, they could be weak enough for draft. I find that as we progress, the choices that they make become more and more baffling. And I wish that I could see into their corporate meetings to go, yo, what led you to go Jumpstart's a failure, but we're still going to make Jumpstart cards and stick them in there? There has to be underlying logic. It's absolutely wild to me overall, right? So the next thing that I want to talk about is on a positive note, and this is about the Pro Tour. Now, some of you probably don't even know what's going on with the Pro Tour, and there's a number of different reasons for that. Wizards of the Coast hasn't actually done the greatest job of getting word about the Pro Tour out there, and as they moved away from standard being the main format of Magic and having Friday Night Magics and really feeding into that competitive environment, right? They said, we're getting rid of that mostly. We're going to get people on Arena also. We're just scrapping the Pro Tour. It's not going to be a really big thing. And then they realized, well, actually, you know what? As an aspirational sort of thing, we do want it. So they brought the Pro Tour coverage back, but it always felt lacking. In fact, with this newest recent bit of the Pro Tour, it really did feel like all the Magic accounts were busy just kind of memeing and advertising other things, right? Like, we're memeing over X being the new name for Twitter and stuff like that. And we have a Magic card named X, so it's all our plan. And that's fun. But at the same time, it just felt like the Pro Tour wasn't really getting a light shined on it. But now, actually, let me pull up my notes here, because I wrote down a number of improvements that they have going on with the Pro Tour, and I want to call them out because they genuinely make a difference, right? This is something we need to see more of. What they've done is they've changed how they show matches. Before, what they used to do is they would show you parts of matches. So you would show up to a match that might already be underway, and you might end up leaving that match before you got to see it all the way to completion. But now they're basically doing time-shifted rounds, so you get to see it from start to finish. And that is a far more gratifying experience, right? On top of that, they've cranked the production values. You can see it, and they have less advertisements for their own products and things. It feels less ad crammed, and they have more deck text, interviews, more little pieces of interest for actual viewers. So it genuinely says that essentially, instead of looking at it as, okay, this is just something we have to do, shove as much of our corporate crap in there as we can, it's turned more into, how do we show our players the gameplay in a way that resonates with them and deliver the best experience? And this is not something that I'm accustomed to from Wizards of the Coast, right? This is genuinely a heartening scenario. So I'm happy to see that. Another thing that I'm actually quite pleased about is the change to the planeswalkers. So going forwards, we're only going to be getting roughly one planeswalker per set. Now they will deviate from this on occasion when it feels like it's really worth it. But overall, we are going to see a de-emphasis on planeswalkers. And this is genuinely going to help the game in a number of ways. One way is just from a flavor perspective, but another is from a power perspective, because planeswalkers tend to be pretty powerfully pushed, and there's only so many different ways to do that kind of pushing without it becoming completely game breaking, right? Like Chase the Mind Sculptor was completely bananas. And so Wizards focused on planeswalkers as the de facto heroes of the game, and we would need to follow them. But the problem with following them as well is a lot of the time when you deal with planeswalkers, especially more than one, you need gigantic multiverse threats for them to handle. Otherwise, it's like, yo, I'm super powerful. Snap, I can handle any problem on a normal plane level, right? So this kind of a scenario where we have a lot of the planeswalkers downgraded to legendary characters and the omen paths opening up means that we get to see different people in different places, which leads to some really cool flavor. And to give you an example of that, I'm going to toss an image on the screen here. This is a Vidalkin that is now in the world of Eldraine. So he's gotten there through an omen path. He's stealing a giant golden goose egg from the giant goose hydra of Eldraine, which currently so far is my absolute favorite concept from Eldraine, that goose hydra. But this is like a Jack and the Beanstalk. He's climbed up there, stole the golden egg. I love it on multiple levels. I love the gigantic size of the egg. I love the fact that a Vidalkin, somebody we would never see in this world, is here, and Wizards can do this more and more going forwards. And this genuinely feels more like real Magic the Gathering to me, in that we have this huge multiverse with these beings that can traverse all over the place and draw different beings through the aether and all that. And we're just going to end up with, well, you only have these people here and you only have these people here. No, the multiverse should have a whole wide range of everything available all over the place. And it means they can take interesting characters and put them in scenarios we wouldn't normally see them in, right? So for me, that is a big win. I like it overall. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about is this Moonshaker Cavalry. The artwork on this, I just want your opinion on it, because this is a matter of taste, right? I look at this is a special store promo, and when I look at it, up in the sky, you've got the spectral forces flying by. This is a great choice for a promo, by the way, because this Crater Hoof Insanity is absolutely nutty. This is a beefcake card. Anyways, when you look at it, at least to me, it feels like this was really done with the intent of having a text box on the card or some text or something, right? Like, it can clearly be a textless card with the contrast between them being up in the sky and the darkness of the land down there, but there's just something about it that feels particularly empty, and it feels like that might just be a personal taste thing. So I figured I would ask what you guys thought about that. And there's another awesome thing I want to talk about, and that's this sick artwork for Bruna, right? Take a look at this. If you don't know what I'm talking about when I say Bruna, there are these crazy angels that morph into a gigantic Eldrazi angel. It's a meld card where you literally flip over both sides and it turns into a Gigantor Eldrazi, which is such a fun concept. And this is one of the two halves of it, which makes it look like we're going to be getting a secret lair that is themed around the Eldrazi. That's how it seems to me, right? We've got the Eldrazi Commander deck that just came out. This turns into an Eldrazi, so you're going to get the two angels that switch into an Eldrazi, and who knows what else. They're not just going to give you one, right? They can't. So the backside of this must have some epic, artwork as well. But overall, the way things are going right now, there's actually some heartening news. It seems like things might be getting better in some ways, and that's definitely, I don't know about you guys, but that's definitely what I needed to hear. So again, I did a live stream going over a whole bunch of spoilers. I'm going to leave a link to that here up on the screen, and I'll leave a link to the live stream that's going on tonight where we're going to play Giant Booster Plinko with Commander Master. So come on by if you want to have some fun. Big shout out to my patrons. Thanks for supporting this channel, and I will see you guys either for the next video or in tonight's live stream.